The female lead tells women's stories. Remarkable, diverse, inspiring. An educational charity promoting positive female role models who show the many different routes to success and fulfillment.
So often I hear people saying, oh, how do I get started? How do I do this? How do you do it? You just start. You have to begin. And it won't be perfect and it'll be messy and it'll be hard, but you're doing something and you're on your way.
Empowering future generations of women through films and a book of 60 women donated to 18,000 schools in the UK and USA, reaching millions of young people. And through our female lead societies, we help girls to discover new role models that speak to their passions, ambitions and careers. Through our research into social media and mental health, we found a solution to the negative impact of social media on teen girls. Through a simple intervention which encouraged girls to follow different influencers, we were able to change their entire social media experience and sense of well-being. We called this campaign Disrupt Your Feed, and it reached 20 million people on social, with 330 million impressions all over the globe. So what's next? As well as inspiring girls, we're now finding ways to measurably improve the lives of older women through data, research, and the stories of those who have overcome challenges and found their own personal versions of success. We're a long way from being finished. Join us in our mission.
Are we going to talk about women's rights again? Yes, we're going to talk about it until there's balance.
Hello, welcome everyone. I'm Edwina Dunn. I'm the founder of The Female Lead, and we have a fabulous session for you tonight. We are going to be talking about how to get good with money. And to do that, we have an amazing woman, Tiffany Aliche, and she is America's favorite personal financial educator. So we are very, very lucky to have her. And she is going to tell us about how to manage our money, how to realize that we are in control of our money, and how we can grasp the basics, but also move on to some of the more complex, challenging, and wealth-creating elements. So to say something about her skills and qualities, she's called the Budgetnista in New Jersey in America, where she's sort of crafted this skill set. And she actually was instrumental in getting a law passed, the Budgetnista Law, I think just over 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And this makes financial education absolutely mandatory for middle school students across New Jersey. So quite some achievement. And if that wasn't enough, aside from being a teacher with a master's degree in education, she's also a best-selling author, an award-winning podcast host. I think that's called Brown Ambition. We can talk about that a little. Mm-hmm. And she has a course which is called the Live Richer Challenge, and over 1 million women participating in one or more of her challenges, and that goes out across about 100 countries. So amazing, amazing reach. Congratulations, Tiffany, and welcome to this LinkedIn Live.
Thank you, Edwina. Wow. I always feel like when people read my bio, it makes me sound better than I am.
No, you are truly amazing. I did not make you sound better. You did all of that yourself. Quite amazing. Now, if I can just remind everybody, I get to ask you a few questions, set things off. But please do, if you're listening, get online and send us some of your questions, and we will leave time to go through those at the end, and you can get advice from one of the best. So without any more ado, let's start with, I guess, a really obvious question, which is, how big a problem is it of people not understanding money, of particularly women not understanding money? Why? Why is it a problem?
So, Edwina, it's a problem because, especially for women not understanding money, because there's a study that was done in the US, and I suspect this is greater for some other countries and maybe less so for others, but where they found that women make 70% of the financial choices in their household. So if a woman is not able to manage and understand her money, it doesn't just affect her. It affects her children. It affects her family, her neighborhood, her community. It affects everyone. That when women know how to do better when it comes to their finances, everyone benefits. Women are typically the first teachers in a home, right? So if they have children, they're the ones bringing that information in and passing it on to their children in large part. The women tend to also share that information like horizontally with their sister and their cousin, with their husband, with their partner. And so it's really important that women learn to master their money and to feel confident in doing so if we're wanting everyone to be okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I grew up in a data and technology world, and I've always spoken out for, the sciences and learning some of the science disciplines like maths. And it always horrifies me when I hear people say, I'm no good at maths. It's not something we can just give up. This money can be quite simple maths, can't it?
Yes. And the thought process that women are not good at math or science or money, that is literally something that's been made up. Because they'll say things like, okay, so women are you are the cook in your home. But then you see most of the chefs at these 5-star restaurants, these are men. So when does that transition happen? That all of a sudden a woman is not a good cook. She's not capable of doing a 5-star restaurant. But when she was cooking for the children, it was enough. Or you'll hear things like most of the time when it comes to teaching, you'll hear, oh, women are such amazing teachers. But you'll see them in the lower grades, right? So primary school, elementary school, and then you go off to college and most of your professors are what? Men. So when does the ability to teach change? It's perception. It is not true. Women, you are capable of learning everything there is to know about money, not just the foundational things like budgeting and saving and getting out of debt, but learning how to invest, learning how to make sure you're protecting the wealth that you're growing, learning how to make sure that your family's protected through a will or trust. So women are capable of all things, and it's perception that keeps us from it.
So Tiffany, can you kind of create some sort of summary of why it's so important to understand and manage money? What does it give us, particularly as women? What strength does it give us?
When you are in control of your money, it allows you freedom, choice, options. You can make decisions for what's best for you and your family, not from a place of fear or lack, but from a place of positivity and abundance. The problem is so many of us are making these choices running away from because we're struggling financially versus running toward. Edwina, I want us to choose and say this, I'm wanting this addition, I'm wanting this abundance versus I have to make this choice because I'm in dire straits or I'm in difficult circumstances. I'm wanting women to have the opportunity to lean in versus run away from. And that's what mastering your money allows you to do. It gives you freedom. It gives you choice. It gives you ability to say yes, not to say, I guess, because what are my options? So it's important.
Yeah. So it's the opposite of closing our eyes and hoping for the best.
Yes, because honestly, the best as an adult rarely happens in that way. You have to proactively work on the things that you're wanting. And no matter how much you make, I am a children of immigrants. My parents were born and raised in Nigeria. So whether it's Nigeria, I see some people here from Zambia, Dubai, whether you're in the UK, whether you're in the United States, no matter where you are, as a woman, you have the ability to have some sort of autonomy, and using that autonomy to make your life better and your family's life better as well.
And what happens when money management goes astray, goes wrong? What are the bad things that start to happen?
So some of the obvious things are not being able to feed yourself and your family, not having a safe environment to be able to grow up in, not being able to create safety, whether it's maybe you need medicine and having access to that. But there are other things. There is fear and shame are these some of the most terrible emotions that people can carry with them, especially shame. When you are struggling with your finances, shame will creep in and tell you, shame, let's just be clear, shame is what I call a liar. Shame tells you not that the thing you've done was a mistake, but that you are a mistake. Shame makes you feel bad about you versus saying, you know what, I can make some different choices here. Shame will have you believe that somehow you're a bad person. Shame thrives in silence. Shame will have you be quiet about where you find yourself. Shame thrives in darkness. Shame will just have you in this dark place. Because I've been there before, where it was literally eating me up inside when I struggled financially. I was afraid to say because I thought I was the only one. I should have known better. And it's just, I think, like, aside from the external things, like not being able to take care of yourself, when you struggle financially, there's an internal turmoil that churns inside you that is really bad for your mental, physical, and emotional health. And so we want to release that. So I always do this, so Edwina, I do this for those of you who are listening in the comments. I do this activity so you can see that you are not alone, right? So if you have struggled in any way financially in the last 12 months, just put in the comments, I have. If you have struggled in any way, whether not being able to pay a bill on time, whether not having the savings that you needed to get something, whether, maybe your job, because of all that's happening with pandemic, maybe your job said we actually have to pay you less or you lost your job. If you have struggled in any way, shape, or form in the last 12 months, just typing I have in the comments. And because that is one of the things that shame tells you, that you are by yourself. Look at how many people I have. You're not alone. Making a mistake with finances, it doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person. Look how many I have: doctors, lawyers, teachers, mechanics, attorneys, students. Everyone at some point struggles with their finances. It is not a condemnation of your character. It just means, okay, there's something new to learn. I want you to think of yourself as you're navigating with your money. Imagine if you have children, young children, or maybe you have a niece or a nephew, or just anyone with young children, and they're learning how to walk, for the first time. Imagine if you shame them, your 2-year-old, because they stumble and fall. Like, come on, we practiced this yesterday. You should have. What's going on, 2-year-old? We would never do that. But most of us have not learned about personal finance at home. So where would you have learned it? You're going to fall and get back up and try again and get back up and fall some more and get back up. I want you to give yourself the space and the grace to learn, just like you would if you were a toddler learning how to do something new for the first time. Yeah, we are here to eliminate shame so you can welcome in solutions.
Well, I thought that was a very, very powerful example there of women opening up, sharing, really, really powerful. I mean, so many, and they're still coming. That's incredible. Now, one of the things you talk about, and I want to make sure we have time to address this, is you talk about financial wholeness, which I really like the sound of. I'm not sure I fully understand it. Could you expand on that for us?
Sure. So financial wholeness, I stumbled upon financial wholeness on my quest for financial freedom. Financial freedom, for the most part, is like when you have enough money set aside where you don't have to do, what you don't want to do. You have your lump sum. Typically, people are looking to achieve financial freedom in retirement when you're a little bit older. But I realized that in my quest for financial freedom, that it was an incomplete quest. That one, there had to be something more, because a lot of people might not reach financial freedom. Does that mean that they are left out of all things positive when it comes to their money? And so the teacher in me was like, there has to be something greater, because it's almost like when I was teaching, I used to teach preschool, so 3 and 4-year-olds. And I felt like financial wholeness was trying to get all of my 3-year-olds to learn by the time they were 4 how to read fluidly. But usually by 3, you're wanting letters, shapes, colors, numbers, and some children will learn how to read. But if I just said the only way to be successful is you 3-year-old, by the time you finish here, you had better learn to read. Well, what happens to the students who don't? And that's what I felt like financial freedom was, that it's for a small, specific group of folks that might reach that. But financial wholeness is these 10 aspects of your financial life, and they work together for your greatest good, your biggest benefit, and your richest life. Some people will achieve financial freedom, but everyone can achieve financial wholeness. So these 10 steps are your budget, savings, debt, your credit, learning how to earn, learning how to invest, insurance, your net worth, your money team, your financial professionals, and estate planning. These 10 components means that if you master these 10 components, that whether or not you have that pile of money or not, you will be financially whole. You will be living your biggest benefit, your greatest life, and your richest life. I'm wanting that for everyone. As a teacher, it doesn't sit well with me to teach to a small percentage of folks. I'm like, well, what about the other 99? And financial wholeness is literally for everyone. So I'm just excited about bringing that concept forward, because so much of the financial education that I have seen has really focused on, so you're going to be a millionaire. Well, what happens if you don't?
Yeah.
Does that mean that you don't feed your kids? Does that mean you don't go on vacation? Does that, so what the vast majority of people will not become millionaires. But does that mean that they're not going to have this full, rich life? Of course you can. And so that's what I love about financial wholeness. So much so I wrote a book about it.
So is this a previous book, or is this the new book that's going
brand new.
Whoa.
Yes.
And when's that coming out?
So it's pre-order right now. It's called Get Good with Money, 10 Simple Steps to Becoming Financially Whole. But you can pre-order right now at getgoodwithmoney.com. It was 3 years. Well, really, I've been doing the Budgetnista for the last 10 years. The first 5-6 years, I really, was creating kind of like, what is it that I wanted people to achieve? And it just, as I was helping folks, Edwina, if anyone's a teacher, let me know in the comments, that teachers know what I mean when you're teaching a lesson and you can tell that the students are not quite getting it. And it creates frustration in you, because you think to yourself, that is your purpose, to teach. To teach is to transform. And if people are not being transformed, what am I doing? And so I would help folks through my literature challenges, or my podcast, Brown Ambition, or my online school, Literature Academy. The people were getting success in what I call these silos. Like, they would fix their credit, but that's it. They would increase their savings, but that's it. Their budget would look great, but that's it. And I was so frustrated, because I'm like, no, you have to work on all those things. And I'm like, well, teacher Tiffany, have you created something where they can work on all 10 aspects? And so as I started to put it together, I realized, I'm not actually working toward financial freedom, because I had reached financial freedom a couple of years ago, and I was a holistically financial mess. I had all this money set aside, but no insurance. I had not taught myself to invest. My credit score was so. I did not have an estate plan. So if something were to happen to me, all this hard work would have gone away. And I realized that, like, okay, the solution is this holistic view of your personal finances. These 10 steps that are really going to help you to your greatest good, your biggest benefit, and your richest life. And yeah, so that's why I wrote Get Good with Money, to really walk you through step by step how to get good with your money through each of those steps. The tone, like how I'm speaking to you now, that is the way that I write. There's homework involved, because teacher Tiffany also understands you need to check for understanding, but it's fun because I really want to help 1 million women to achieve financial wholeness, because I know that through you, I help your children. Through you, I help your partner. Through you, I help your family, your neighborhood, your community. Through women, you really shift the world toward a better place.
Well, it's a wonderful ambition. And what I really love about what you say is that you haven't used any technical jargon, you haven't used any words that kind of make us feel like we've not studied the latest policy statement on ISAs or whatever it is that we haven't studied. So I'm loving that already. Now, I'm going to open it up for questions in just a second. So please do send them in.
So someone asked, what are the 10 steps? Can I share the 10 steps again, Edwina?
Oh, yeah, please do. And maybe we can put them on the website afterwards. So
yes, that would be great. So the 10 steps to financial wholeness. And if you guys want to type them in for each other, this would be great. 1, budget building. 2, I call it saving like a squirrel, because squirrels are super savvy savers. 3, digging out of debt. 4, scoring high. This is credit. 5, learning how to earn. Everyone needs to know how to increase their income. 6, investing like an insider. 2 types of investing, for wealth and for retirement. So that's 6. 7, getting good with insurance. Insurance is there as a safety net to protect you, right? That's 7. 8, growing rich-ish. This is your net worth. You want to own more than you owe. So that is 8, growing rich-ish. 9, pick your money team. So everyone should have some sort of financial professionals they can lean into, right? And then 10, last but not least, is leaving a legacy. This is estate planning. So I'll give you an example of estate planning. You might be 20 years old and you might say, well, I don't have an estate. Well, do you have a bank account? Put your mom, your dad, your sister as a beneficiary on that bank account. You've estate planned as a 20-year-old. Me, I'm 40. I've got a stepdaughter who's 14. I've got a husband. So estate planning for me, because I have businesses, it's going to look like a will and a trust. What I love about financial wholeness is that no matter where you are in life, it's going to look different. So a 20-year-old, those 10 steps are going to look different, completion of those 10 steps. But if you are a 40-year-old, 60-year-old, those 10 steps are going to look different. And you're not sure, like you can actually go to getgoodwithmoney.com. If you scroll down, certainly you can get the book there, but there's actually a quiz, a 2-minute quiz that you can take like halfway down to see how close to financial wholeness you are. And after you take the quiz, I actually send you a checklist. So you can say like, oh, okay. So even if you don't get the book, I always believe, and one of my things as a teacher for me is I always say that you don't have to spend any money to be helped by me, and I truly believe that the purpose of life is to live a life of service. It's why I became a teacher. And I love, love, love teaching. I truly believe that's what I was created for. So I try my best to create resources that can help people no matter where they are in life. And it's really served me well. So yes, go to getgoodwithmoney.com, take the quiz. It's like I said, it's about halfway down. See where you are with your financial wholeness. And I will send you a checklist that literally breaks down each of those components ad nauseum. So you're like, oh, it's not just enough to have a budget. It has to be semi-automated. I have to have the proper bank accounts. Got it. So you can put that quiz on your refrigerator and check it off as you pursue 100% financial wholeness.
Well, that is a very direct set of actions there. And there is no barrier because there is no spending money unless you have to or want to.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. Really, really lovely. And part of our philosophy too at the Female Lead. Now, there are questions, I have no doubt. Here we go, Beth. Why do you think women have such an insecurity with money and savings and security?
Well, because women, unfortunately, have been taught, it is socialization. We have been taught that you allow the men to take care of money and finances. I'll give you an example. I have a niece, Amelia. Amelia's 3. There was something in my house. She was pulling one of my kitchen shelves or kitchen cabinets, and it was a little loose. And she said, Auntie, the handle is loose. And I went to I said, oh, we'll get Uncle Jarrell, that's my husband, to tighten it. And I said, you know what? It's a good opportunity to show her. So I was showing her, let's tighten it. And I said, look, Amelia, girls can do it too. And my sister said, no, don't tell her that. And I was like, she said, we don't make the differentiation that girls can do it too. It should just be implied. Like if something is broken, you could just do it. She's like, would I have told Roman? So Amelia has a 5-year-old brother named Roman. Would I have said, hey, Roman, look, boys can fix it too? No, because the assumption is there already. I don't need to specifically state that. And I thought, okay, this is why women struggle, honestly, with their finances, not because you're not capable, but because we've been told it's something beyond our capability. And that's just not true. How do you raise children? How do you work? How do you go to school? How do you do all of these things and manage your parents and your siblings and the household? How you are able to do all of that? But a budget, investing, those things are easy in comparison to your day-to-day life. And so that's why it's just socialization. So you're really wanting to reset your mindset. That's something I go over in Get Good with Money, because it is important. I call it seasoning the meat. So the meat is your brain. And before you cook anything, right? So if you're making chicken, you're wanting to season the chicken. So it's going to be, so that way the chicken will be delicious. So I always say you want to do these mindset activities to season your meat before you get to learning. And I do that with you and Get Good with Money.
That's a great image. I love it.
You can tell I used to teach preschool, right?
Yeah, it's great. Okay. Do we have another question there?
There's so many in the comments. You guys have
I know. I think poor Lauren's. Here we go. If you won $1 million, what's the first thing you'd do?
This is a great question. So if I myself won $1 million right now, first thing I would do, and this is whether $1 million, your tax refund, if you get one for $5,000, any money that's outside of the money that you need to live regular life. So let's just say I was behind on bills that are necessary, like my mortgage or my rent or groceries or something like that. I would set aside something for that to make sure I could take care, to make sure I was healthy and safe. But before I did anything else with $1 million, let's just say I'm not behind. I have a job that takes care of my life. I would create a plan. First thing I would do, this is my favorite notebook. This notebook right now is by my friend. She makes them noonday collection. I love this notebook. It's just blank. I would literally take out my notebook and I would say, okay, $1 million. What percentage do I want to set aside for giving? What percentage do I want to set aside for some of my goals and dreams? I would literally break the $1 million down into some of the goals that I have. And even that still wouldn't touch it. I would consult with a certified financial planner. That's what they call it in the US. I'm not sure in other places, but basically consult with a financial expert, someone who helps people manage their finances. And then I would go over my plan with them and sit with someone this is who they've been doing it at least for 5 years or so, to work on how do I make these things happen? If you spend right away, and that's okay. I probably honestly would set aside maybe a little bit to spend, because you want to get a little of that out of your system. So I might say, okay, I'm going to set aside $10,000 and I don't have to be responsible with it. I'm going to, go to Target and go crazy, because you want to get that out of your system. But I would make myself whole, set a little aside to have some fun with, create my plan before I touched any of it, meet with an expert, and then execute my plan, because I want my $1 million to turn into 5, to turn into 10, to turn into legacy for my family.
And I saw a question whiz by on the bar there, which was, how do you pick the right expert? How do you know who to trust?
And you know what? This is a really great. So in the US, we look for something, and you would have to find that equivalent for you. It's called a certified financial planner, not just a financial advisor, because a certified financial planner, you're looking for someone who had to have some sort of certification that is mandated by their state or the government at large, meaning that there is oversight to their ability to give you advice, right? So that's one. Two, I like to look for someone who is fee only. So for here in the US, and that just means that I pay them for their advice, but they don't get paid off of anything they sell me. So my certified financial planner, she is, I love Aliche. She's awesome. She is fee only. So because if Aliche sold me insurance and then she got paid based upon selling me that insurance, then she might sell me things I don't necessarily need, because My dad would say, he who pays the piper determines the tune, right? So the piper that would be paying her is the insurance company. Her loyalty, even though she might be amazing, might lie with them to sell things that people don't need. So Anjali doesn't sell me anything. I pay out of pocket for her advice. So I know that her advice is centered from a place of, because whether I make a ton of money or no money, it doesn't matter. Her advice, I pay a flat fee for that. And so you wanted to look for whatever that looks like, wherever you are, a fee only, where you're just paying for their advice. And you're also looking, quite honestly, for a vibe. Like, I went through 5 different financial planners that honestly, I didn't like this one, men. Anjali's my first woman. And they just didn't understand because I am a child of immigrants. So, and Anjali, she herself, she's Indian. And so she is, I don't know if she was born in India, but certainly she's a children of immigrants. And so when I told her, like, I have to set aside money, to give to my parents, to take care of my grandparents, she understood versus like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So you're wanting to make sure that you're on the same page as your financial planner too. So just that energy, do you feel that you can trust them? I'm someone who asks 1,000,001 questions because a good teacher is an even better student. I mean, before we meet, I have like 20 questions for Anjali. And what about, right? So what I would suggest to you as you search for a financial planner, this helped me a lot, is to create, and I actually put this inside my Get Good with Money, my new book, that I have it because chapter 9 or chapter 10 is about finding your financial pros. I have this worksheet of you fill out your financial kind of like life on this worksheet. And then like, how much you make, what are your goals, if you have debt. And then I would interview financial planners with that worksheet. So I interviewed about 13 of them to find her because I was able to say, here is my life and my husband's life. Here's my goals. Can you help me? Instead of just like having these one-off conversations and comparing apples to oranges. So I suggest that as well. So yeah, that's how I pick one.
And is there a percentage that you should spend of that accumulated financial worth, as it were? Is there a percentage, a rule of thumb of how much you should spend on the planning, on the advice?
So not necessarily a percentage. So I spend, I'm candid because I'm always candid with my numbers for what I pay Anjali, because she does all the things, estate planning. She helps with that. I'm spending $15,000 a year, but she only works with high net worth individuals. And I've gotten to that place now with my businesses, the Budgetnista, but that honestly is on the super high end. For some folks, you might say, I don't have that. You can literally pay for just an hour of time. It might be $150 and you do that once a year because you're putting together your plan with them. So it's not so much a percentage. You would just ask yourself, what can you afford? Can I afford an hour of someone's time, or do I want them to guide me? And Anjali, I won't work with her forever. She's getting ourselves set up, and then our relationship will reduce, and then my payments will reduce. And so not necessarily a percentage, but what can you afford? And does it make sense for you right now? Everyone doesn't need to work with a financial planner. Sometimes you just need to work on your budgeting, your savings, getting your credit straight, and getting your debt down, and that's fine for now.
Brilliant. They're all loving your worksheets, by the way, Tiffany.
Yeah, you got to. So you guys can go getgoodwithmoney.com. Like I said, take the 2-minute quiz. It's somewhere go ahead and get the book there as well. Take the 2-minute quiz and I will send you that free worksheet. Now, I'm so glad you guys got them.
Okay, Judith asks, what is your most important advice for mothers regarding money?
So Judith, this actually is going to sound a little strange, but my most important advice for mothers regarding money is to secure yourself first. Now, I'm not talking about food, shelter, clothing, water. I'm talking about above and beyond. The best gift that you as a mom can give your children is for you to be financially sound. I want you to prioritize your retirement even more so than their college fund. I know it's going to sound crazy. So I'm fortunate now. My parents are, thank God, are still here. My dad is almost 80. My mother is in her, well, I'm not going to say because she'll be like, don't you tell these people. My mother is younger than my father. I'll just say that. And but they are retired, and I send them money every month, but it's not money that they need. It's just Me being a good Nigerian daughter, I just send them money so they could just, enjoy themselves, But I didn't realize until I got older, one of the best things that my parents did was to create an environment, because I'm one of 5 girls, where my sisters and I can focus most of our income on taking care of our current family versus taking care of our current family and then also having to provide for them financially. So Judith, I want you to make sure that you are taking care of, yes, your current needs for the children now, but that you are seriously making sure that by the time your children are grown and have their own families, that if they want to send you a little money on the side, great, but you have created a financial life for yourself that you are able to sustain yourself. It's not a burden for children to take care of you, but certainly if you can give them the freedom to just take care of their immediate family, that's such a blessing. So that's what I advise mothers regarding money, and to have open dialogue with your children about money as young as 3 and 4. When kids start to say, "Mommy, can you buy me?" Not just can I have, but can you buy me? They've made the connection between money and things. And so you want to make sure it's the right connection. It is okay to be age appropriate and to say things like, I used to do this with my stepdaughter when she was young. We would go someplace. And so I taught her to say, she calls me Tiffy. Tiffy, what's my budget when we go to the store? So because I was teaching her the language. And so I also got her these little, she had these little coffee cans, and then we decorated them. One said saving, one said giving, one said spending. And so every time she got money, she knew she had to put a little bit of money in each. So she would say, "Tiffy, what's my budget?" In the beginning, I would just give her money. Now I say, "Well, go look at your spending can." She'd open it and say, "There's no money in here." I'm like, "Well," because she had spent it on some foolishness the day before. But then even with the giving, she said, "Well, who should I give to?" I said, "Well, your giving can is just anyone that's not you. You want to give to and help out the homeless shelter. Maybe there is a dog park where the dogs need more bones or something like that, whatever that is." So teaching kids how to navigate that money is to be shared, money is to be used responsibly and enjoyed, and money is to be set aside for savings and investing. So that's what I suggest as a mom.
I'm looking at these questions. There are so many good ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Mary asks, does your book also speak to negotiating and asking for what you want?
Yes, it does. So remember I said that learning to earn, that's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So number 5 of the 10 steps to financial wholeness is learning to earn, increasing your income. I do almost half the chapter is to teach you how to navigate and to ask for what you're wanting. I'll give you one quick tip. So like I said, I'm one of 5 girls. So I'm number 2. Number 3, Tracy does something where she works called her Go Me file. So whenever she does something at work that adds to the financial bottom line, saves the company money or makes the company money, whether directly or indirectly, she says, "Go me." And then she literally will write it in her notebook. And so it sounds like fun, but here's the thing, Mary. When she adds up those things, by the end of the year or 2 years, she has a quantifiable number of how she's added to the company's bottom line, because now she can go and say, negotiate from a place of, "Hi, in the last year, I have saved the company $100,000 or helped to directly or indirectly make the company $500,000. You're not asking for a raise. You're just saying, "I would like to be compensated for all that I bring to the table." You see, you're no longer in the position of like, "I'm begging for a raise." You're showing, "Look at my value." And you're also kind of underlying saying, "I can take my value someplace else." And you certainly can. That's what's so great about your Go Me file. If your job says no, you can take that and apply for someplace else. And when they ask you, "What have you brought to the table?" you can say, "The last job where I worked, I helped to make them 500 or helped to save them 500,000. So yeah, so
Go Me file.
yes, but yes, that is
so nice.
that's just one of the tips since I get good with money.
Yeah. We are running way over, but the questions are coming.
No, these are great. And I see someone, her name is Aliche, and she said, "I didn't realize you're Nigerian. Proud of you." Aliche, my actual Nigerian name is your name. So mine is Adochi, which means God's blessing or God's gift. So Ogo and Odo are like different dialects. So we have the same name, Agochi.
And you were teaching me that before we went live, and I asked you if it was French. So
yeah, Aliche.
Knows what I know.
So I'm Igbo. So Aliche is very old Igbo. And so, but it means, I think it means like people of the earth. It's like Aliche, but yeah, so.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Now, this is probably our last question.
Okay.
I'm so sorry because they keep coming, but can I ask you, is your book for any economy or just the US?
So certainly because I live in the United States, it is US leaning. But so for example, credit is different depending where you are. But so like I told you, the 10 steps, budgeting is the same everywhere. Savings is the same. Digging out of debt, the premises are still the same. Credit is different. Learning to earn and negotiate, those things are the same. Investing is definitely different, but still the same in many countries. Getting good with insurance is different other places. So certainly maybe not that, but your net worth, the same. Owning versus owing is the same. Picking your money team. Now, here's the thing, the different types of people might have different names in your country, or they might not even exist, but there's still something there. And even still leaving a legacy, even if you don't do wills or trust in your country, still learning, how do I preserve the thing that I created? So that way I can set it aside for future generations. And Edwina, I know this is our last thing, but I want to leave you with this, because the teacher in me is like, especially the teacher and the African teacher in me is because stories sit with you forever. So the first time I went to Nigeria, one of my uncles was very wealthy. And I asked my dad, why? And he said, you see all these trees that he has on his property. These are oil palm trees. And I said, okay. He said, palm oil is one of the most used oils for cooking in Africa. It is highly valuable. And I was like, wow. But he said, do you know how long it takes for a palm oil tree to grow to maturation, to produce the palm oil fruit, to produce oil? And I said, no. He said, about 100 years. And I was like, wow, is he, because I was young, I was like, is he old? He was like, no, that his great grandfather had to plant these hundreds of trees, knowing that he himself was not going to benefit, that his child would likely not benefit, that only his grandchild or his great grandchild would benefit. And that is what we are called to do. That as you are looking after yourself financially, make sure that you're also planting oil palm trees, so that when you are setting not just you, your children, your children's children, and your children's children. And if we all did that, wouldn't the world just be so much better? And thank you so much, Edwina, for having me. And I hope you guys do get good with money, and go to getgoodwithmoney.com and get the book and connect with me as the Budgetnista on all my social platforms.
Well, the images you've created about planting for the future is just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And Tiffany, thank you so much for sharing not just your wisdom and your advice, but actually your stories and your enthusiasm.
Thank you.
It's really captivating. And I just want to say to everybody out there, thank you. I'm sorry we didn't cover all of your questions, but I mean, hopefully you can find some of the answers online, in the book, in the quiz, and there will be other occasions, I have no doubt. If I can just mention that this is the final live. We're going out on a high. There is a next event, which will be on the 4th of March, which I think is very soon. And we're doing something really exciting with Disney. We are going to be talking to the cast of Raya and The Last Dragon. So very, very exciting.
Yes.
And there's going to be an official announcement on Monday. So watch out for that. And in the meantime, I just want to say once again, Tiffany, Aliche, thank you. Good luck with your new book. And please do watch and follow everybody out there. Been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.